Jordan Peterson says it all the time. If you want to utterly destroy someone, don't punish them for what they do bad. Punish them for what they do good. Being a man is a thankless job. In times of peace, you are ostracized and criticized. In times of war, you are obligated, outright expected on the front lines. No reward, no one to say thank you, and no woman to support you except perhaps your mother. You strip the morals from society and people act differently. People have gotten so caught up in destroying the social structure of our society because they think it needs to be better. They replace it with nothing and then wind up with a society of people that just don't care anymore. Without any motivation to fight, care, or love anything, what do you expect any of us to do? Apathy. That's what is currently driving our men right now, if it can drive anything at all. Society is broken. Most stand and film instead of trying to help. Those that often help face punishment from the so-called authorities that are nowhere to be seen unless it suits them. Utterly pathetic. I was raised with the morality to help anyone in distress. Being penalized for it just goes to show how pathetic our social structure has become. So it's really something that women can even begin to suggest that men don't and have never wanted to help them. Men have always wanted to help women and everyone else in society. It's in their DNA. However, when women refuse that help time and time again, make baseless allegations against men, and then talk about how they are strong women who don't need no men and refuse men's help in any way possible, then it's just not okay for men to help them then. Simple. Men have had it with women who talk about something and then do the entire opposite. They want equality but only want the rewards of it instead of doing the hard work. They want to be equal to men but won't ever call a woman to change their tire now, will they? And the truth is that women regret feminism, whether they ever accept it or not. Women regret feminism in the sense that it took them to another level and totally away from what a woman is supposed to be according to the universal laws of nature. A woman is supposed to be a caregiver, a nurturer, and someone who can raise families. There's a reason why it's women who have the biological power to give birth, and not men. But when women go against their own nature for too long, it begins to disturb them. It begins to make them realize that they are wasting their time doing things that men are supposed to do and avoiding the things that they should be doing. Feminism has really made things go worse for women. They thought they were being liberated and empowered to live independent lives where they need no men. However, they realized that they were being sold a lie, and they were only being taught to hate men and the entire concept of marriage, and being aligned with their own feminine selves. Men don't go about trying to raise children and become feminine to care for children. They're perfectly happy being who they are and doing what they're supposed to be, providers and protectors. They don't try to become women or take on the responsibilities of a woman. A woman wanting to be the provider is like a man complaining about his inability to give birth to a child. So while feminism did bring a lot of growth for women and empowered them to pursue better and more independent lives, feminism failed to draw a boundary between the level of independence and freedom of being. It made women want to become men, and eventually despise men for being masculine. All in all, feminism couldn't liberate women like it set out to, because liberation isn't financial freedom. It's making women feel comfortable in being who they are and being comfortable showing their feminine side. Men are and always have been providers, and they thrive when they're protecting and providing for women. It gives them purpose. Similarly, for women, their real purpose isn't being CEOs of organizations or becoming board members of large public companies, it's being female. Yes, feminism hates masculinity. That's the real truth. Also, if you go through social media today, you'll see tons of videos from women who are hitting the wall and realizing how wrong they were to not start their families early on and settle down. They're complaining about how men are not giving them the attention and validation that they used to, and instead are choosing younger women to start families with. In the last couple of decades, women thought that they could take over men's roles in society and practically waste away their fertile and prime years in either pursuing a career or chasing the stereotypical bad boys. But soon enough, when these women got to their 30s and above, they started realizing that with every passing year, it was becoming harder and harder for them to become pregnant. And so started their change in mindset and realization that life wasn't just about becoming wealthy or believing in the extreme forms of feminism that make these women think they can live their lives without men or without having families and adhering to their natural feminine tendencies. Women only reveal their anti-male woke nature when they do things because it shows they just want to ride the wave of success without having to actually work for it. They compare themselves with high-quality men who literally sacrifice their entire lives and live in incredibly competitive environments just so they can get to those positions. Feminist women say they want equality, but they only want it on their terms, which includes domination over men. Women want selective equality. They don't want true equality. They want the same salary that a man has for a particular position without having to work for it as much as that man. Women want a place in the boardroom, but they don't want to sit past 6 p.m. because they've got to go to their spa appointment. It's pretty clear that women feel incredibly entitled to everything, and what makes them entitled is the fact that they've never had to provide for other people on a larger scale. They've never had to work for anything, and they've always been spoiled by the men in their lives. Yes, there are many women who don't fall in this category and are actually self-made, but that's a very small minority that feminism seems to glamorize a little too much. It's quite typical of women to keep saying they know something when actually they don't. They have a hard time facing rejection, and they have a hard time admitting they don't know how to do something. This example was even stereotypical because girls and cars really haven't historically made a good match. Instead of calling a guy, maybe her brother, father, boyfriend, husband, or even a male friend or a colleague knows more about cars and will happily her out within 30 minutes, she's trying to use things such as squeezy pipes to get that extra engine oil out of her car. A truly feminine woman is one who is truly and genuinely happy being the woman in the relationship. She's truly happy giving birth and raising kids in a healthy home where she knows her role is to provide love and care, while the man's role is to provide protection and sustenance. So, a man really has to be insane to actually consider solo moms, because that's just a recipe for him wasting a big chunk of his life away, unless and until he knows the woman inside out and her intentions. I always like to ask, what does society owe men? And usually you'll get a lot of people from both the right, left, and in between telling you that society doesn't owe men anything. This is true and fine with me. But the problem is those same people demand and feel entitled to men, their resources, and their lives. Men don't owe anything to society either. You pay for cops for a reason. Let them do their job. I'll risk myself for my loved ones, but for complete strangers that have contempt for me just because I committed the sin of being born a man, no thanks. They should start asking where are all the strong, independent women to rescue them. Thanks for watching The Circle of Kings. As always, we're looking forward to your support. So please hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel to stay updated with everything all kings like yourself need to know.